And welcome back. We've made it to our top four, and we had some interesting upsets in our top eight. Number one seed Preston Stutzman going down. Interesting. The Bramblegas couldn't take him all the way. But in our top four match, we are going to see two newcomers, Elijah Tatum and Patrick Connors. Anthony Sobel and Aaron Banyard going down in their top eight matches. So even though we saw both of them earlier on stream, now we get two new fresh faces for you. So that's pretty exciting. We've got Elijah Tatum and rocking a Chen Pao Dragonite Hisuian Gudra. Are you ready, Brady? This one might take a minute.
Yeah, I was talking about this. I was like, can we get the Hisuian Gudra guy like last, please? Just because, and he made it. It's in top four now. So interesting thing about these two names, they are new Florida players from the looks of it. I've been going to every single local for the past, I'd say 7 years. TJ, how long have you been going to these locals for? 7 years, maybe? Too long. Anyways, I've not seen any of these names, so it's really cool to see some, new names in the scene. It's growing. It's awesome. Elijah is running a team of Chen Pao, Dragonite, the Gudra, so like you were saying, the Fluttermane, Heatran, and Iron Hands. And what is very interesting about this Chen Pao is that it is Life Orb, actually, so it is not holding the Focus Sash, so it's much more of a volatile pick with this item where you can either win hard or lose harder. And then the next thing, versus on Patrick's side, the exact same combination of the Chen Pao Dragonite, except Patrick is holding the Focus Sash on his Chen Pao. And then Patrick also has opted to have a King Gambit, Ogre Pawn Fire, a Urshifu, the Rapid Strike form, and an additional Fluttermane. Now, what's interesting about this Fluttermane is it is holding the booster energy with Icy Wind versus the Fluttermane from Elijah's side, which is Choice Specs. So it's going to be a completely different game. If I had to put my 2 cents, I'd say Patrick has the matchup for 2 reasons. Number one, there's a Fluttermane with Icy Wind. So for me, as a veteran, that's giving me a very big indicator that this Fluttermane is holding the booster energy speed, because generally you want to move first and then use Icy Wind as first and as quick as possible. And that really does upset this matchup so much because you can Icy Wind into the Dragonite, you can Icy Wind to their Fluttermane, knock it out. You can Icy Wind into Chen Pao and double tap it with your own Chen Pao. So that's going to be a key baller inside this matchup, in my opinion. And the other reason why I am favoring Patrick for this matchup is because the Chen Pao has the Focus Sash, whereas the Life Orb one can be one-hit knocked out by the opposing Sacred Sword from Chen Pao.
See, now, Brady, I'm going to disagree with you here. Only because prior to Regulation D, I was a body press heavy slam huge fan with none other than what I received earlier than Orthworm. So I like to see the adjustment that Hisuian Gudra is able to carry on that legacy. Now, to start Game 1 here, we see booster speed on the Flutter with the Urshifu and Dragonite Chen Pao out for Elijah. Both players opting to go heavy offense from the start.
So, it is kind of cool because, there's two sides of the coin, right? On one side, the Fluttermane does outspeed both of these Pokemon and can go for an Icy Wind to offset there's no Focus Sash. They can go for Icy Wind to lower the speed of the Chen Pao and really just kind of make that its job really difficult, thanks to Urshifu being able to knock it out one shot. Likewise, though, this Dragonite is going to go for the Terra Normal, which is also very interesting because technically the Urshifu could have maybe gone for an Icy Wind in close combat, but now it can. So Sucker Punch.
Ooh, is with the Life Orb. Now we were talking about the Focus Sash variant. Now Life Orb proving its utility right out of the gate, being able to knock out the booster speed Fluttermane in one go.
Does that Flutter have any bulk? That is insane. That just picked up the one-hit knockout from a Sucker Punch from base 70. That's kind of crazy. So, if you're Elijah, I'd be I'd do a little fist bump. I'd be like, oh, sweet, that was the best turn one. And then what's kind of funny is on this turn two, pretty much the same thing can happen on Urshifu. You could technically double tap it with like an extreme speed sucker punch, and that might even be able to knock it out because you are Life Orb. It might be very close to how this is trained now. You could maybe do the same thing to Dragapult, or to Dragon Knight with E-Speed plus a different move, but let's see exactly how this goes. That when it knocks out.
Without the Focus Sash, Chen Pao is going to take that extreme speed and say goodnight. Here comes the other Dragonite into the Urshifu, not going to be able to knock it out. Urshifu retaliates with the close combat, and see you later.
Now, do you think with the Sword of Ruin, that extra damage would have been enough?
Would have been very close, and I'm really thinking Elijah was hoping to be able to keep that Chen Pao on the field just to be able to make sure, or at least give him the best opportunity to take that out. So now, what ended up being a very, very quick Flutter Mane loss, now, you know, Patrick's got some momentum here. The Flutter Mane and Iron Hands coming out for Elijah, and we still have Focus Sash Chen Pao in the back for Patrick.
This isn't even that bad if you are Elijah. Like, obviously you don't have your last two Pokemon, but Iron Hands being the unit that it is, it's very, very hard to knock out. So technically Elijah could do something like maybe like a Drain Punch into the Dragonite, knowing that it can't do anything, and then just a Dazzling Gleam, you know, getting some damage off. So presumably what's going to happen here is that this Dragonite's going to go down, then Chen Pao is going to come back in, and then it's an interesting fight, because the question is, does Urshifu Aqua Jet plus Sucker Punch from Chen Pao knock out this Flutter Mane with just one tap? So if it does, this will be a little bit, you know, it could go either way, honestly, because then Drain Punch would presumably come out onto Urshifu, and then I think that the 1v1 would be won by Iron Hands against the Chen Pao.
Yes, Iron Hands is sitting pretty right now at about 80-ish% health. Even if they double tap this Flutter Mane, that Iron Hands is going to be a force to get off the field.
Right, because like Drain Punch are going to come out here onto the Urshifu. Presumably, you know, there might be like a toss, and you know, it might go into the Chen Pao, for instance, in which case that would actually kind of lose the game. But assuming that the plays are optimal here, it's all correct play. If this does not, okay, that definitely knocks out with Aqua Jet. This Dragon Punch knocks out the Urshifu. Then it's a 1v1 of Chen Pao up against the Iron Hands.
Oh, he opts for the Thunder Punch.
Okay.
Gonna make sure that he knocks out the Urshifu, and with a relatively healthy Iron Hands, Iron Hands has got to, you know, make two attacks. Chen Pao, Ice Spinner.
Oh, a crit.
Huge critical hit. The Drain Punch. Not going to be able to get back up to where he was. However, this Chen Pao is going to need one more of those critical hits, I think, in order to finish off this Iron Hand.
This is where like play optimization would have been like really clutch. Like if you would have gotten up that extra Drain Punch onto the Urshifu earlier, I don't think another crit would have knocked you out actually. So that's very interesting. Just like little tiny details like that can snowball out of control. And of course, you know, it's a 1 in 24th chance of winning, but it's Pokemon. I've seen those happen before, you know, and not to mention that this Chen Pao literally just got a crit. So like, you know what I'm saying? It's like if it gets it again, then like this is over. So let's see. Okay,
not able to knock it out.
Iron Hands clutching it out.
Oh my goodness. That's going to be a problem for Patrick's team going forward. He's got a lot of weaknesses there, especially if he wants to commit to that Terra Normal Dragonite, which that was a big turn, going from, you know, a resist when it's dragon flying to now super effective, allowing that Iron Hands to get all of that health that extreme speed, you know, took away.
So, okay, now I would actually like to retract my previous statement of where I was saying that I think the matchup is set in Patrick's favor. After just seeing that play, like, I'm looking at Iron Hands, right, from Elijah, and then I'm looking at Patrick's team. And I'm just like, wow, like, Iron Hands can just punch 1, 2, 3, 4. It just punches almost everything on the team and just, like, gets one-hit knockouts. So, as we saw into that last game, what was really cool is that it looked like Elijah was back against the wall, couldn't do anything, and then Iron Hands comes out and just clutches it with Flutter Mane, and it was really cool because they both exerted so much offensive pressure that if you were Patrick, you wanted to go for the Sucker Punch and Aqua Jet into the Flutter Mane, because if that Flutter Mane gets off a Dazzle, it's pretty much over. But that was not able to happen just because of the fact that the Iron Hands was able to kind of act, or I guess Flutter Mane was able to act as like a safeguard to protect the Iron Hands, to allow Iron Hands to do what it had to do. It's almost as if like Flutter Mane used Follow Me, because like they kind of both redirected into it just because it exerted so much offensive pressure.
Oh, that's going to be an interesting adjustment to see how Patrick decides to deal with the Iron Hands, because if you're Elijah, you got to be looking at how that game one went and think, yeah, he's got to come, right? Iron Hands he's got to come back.
If I was Patrick, I would literally be like, okay, I need to overwhelm this Iron Hands. This Iron Hands cannot get off an attack. If it does, it needs to faint. So I'd either bait it with Terra Fairy King Gambit, I'd click Outrage with Dragonite and hopefully you get it, or just overwhelm with Ogre Pawn / Flutter Mane. It's like you gotta just overwhelm and go on the gun. So we do see a mirror match.
Here we go. All right, who's trading what? Who's going for what? We've got Dragonites and Chen Pao's galore.
So the question here is, right, like, do they Terra Normal? Because it's like, I know that you want to Terra Normal because you don't want to faint my Ice Spinner. But I know that I know you're going to Terra Normal. So it's just like, there's a whole mind game. And in which case, do you also Terra Ghost or Chen Pao to stop an Extreme Speed going on to it? Like, what do you click here? Like, there's so many options that go onto their heads. Not to mention, one of these Chen Pao could be Adamant, one of them could be Jolly. We know there's the Life Orb Chen Pao, and there's also the Focus Sash Chen Pao. So it's like, there's so much depth into this turn, even though they're the exact same Pokemon technically. It's like, whose Dragonite's faster? Whose Chen Pao is faster? Will Sash be more impactful, or will Life Orb? Do you Terra Ghost the Chen Pao or the Dragonite? But we do see Dragonite, so that means there's no Terra Chen Pao on this turn.
Ooh, boy, this game is one of those that could be won or lost. Here on turn one, we see the Terra coming out for Elijah. Is it going to be Ghost? It is not. They're both going Terra Normal. Ooh, all right. They're in each other's heads, reading each other, and apparently on the same exact wavelength.
All it takes is just for that Life Orb Chen Pao to click a Sacred Sword.
Extreme Speed into the Dragonite. Elijah's Dragonite. Oh, they're going to do the same thing. Oh, gosh. Sucker Punch. Patrick's is faster. And we're going to see an Ice Spinner from Elijah's to take out the Dragonite. Very, very smart play.
That was good. Yeah, because the thing is, if you were Patrick, maybe you could have hoped for a Sacred Sword. Now, obviously, you know why Patrick clicked that, right? Because technically Elijah could have Terra Ghosted their Chen Pao, and then Patrick was hoping to catch Elijah on that, but Elijah was like, nah, I'm clicking the exact same thing you are. We both want to Terra Normal here. Let's do it. And then the only difference that Elijah just double tap Dragonite, whereas Patrick just went for a spread their attacks. Went for Sucker Punch and Speed. So now it's not ideal if you are Patrick. That being said, knowing that the Dragonite is locked into this Extreme Speed, that feels like your Flutter Mane can breathe this one turn, right?
Yes, except for the fact that we saw the Sucker Punch can knock out the Flutter Mane in one shot.
Oh,
we
no.
saw in the last turn that Patrick's Sucker Punch went off before Elijah, but Extreme Speed going into the Chen Pao protecting, Sucker Punch into... No, it's taking it out.
How much HP is that? 148, that has to be no investment, right? Because I've never seen Flutter Mane getting knocked out, but I know it's Life Orb. Life Orb, that's a fair amount of damage output, but still, getting knocked out in one shot by a Sucker Punch from a Flutter Mane, that's crazy.
And now we've got a double protect prayer here for Patrick. If he can get it, he might have a chance. But the Extreme Speed pressure. Oh, and he does get the double protect, the 50-50. Let's see, Extreme Speed going into the Urshifu. Nice call by Elijah. We did say would the Sword of Ruin knock out the Urshifu in the game 1? It does not.
Okay, so I just want to just show the difference of what happened. So number one, like, do you see how that turn 1 just snowballed out of control where, just Patrick making one mistake, which was clicking Sucker Punch into the Chin Pow, ended up snowballing into losing your Flutter Mane, taking 90% on your Urshifu, and now losing all your resources to get rid of his Iron Hands.
And there's the big fella coming in to close out this game.
Oh.
I mean, you're sitting without your Terra. Your Urshifu is 10%, maybe, if you're lucky. The triple protect, not going to happen here. Oh, and a fake out from the Iron Hands. Well played by Elijah. And we are going to see a Sucker Punch. That's not going to go through. However, I see absolutely no way out of this for Patrick.
Yeah, I gotta absolutely give it to Elijah. Like, just maintaining all those mind games of like, because there is an aspect of skill inside of the Chin Pow versus Dragonite Mirror. It's like there's a lot of depth into it. It's like, do I Terra Ghost my Chin Pow? Do I Terra Normal my Dragonite? I want to Terra Normal because I don't want to feint Ice Spinner, but I also want to Terra Ghost. I don't want to feint E-Speed. So it's like there's so much depth into it. And then Elijah was just like, just kept a calm mind and just thought about it very slowly, very methodically. Like, okay, as long as I just double tap the Dragonite, get rid of Dragonite, then I can just start going through the rest of the team. I know my Sucker Punch knocks out this Flutter Mane like I learned from last game. I know this E-Speed should do about 90% to this Urshifu. It's like, it was just very calm and just slow way to victory from Elijah there. And I'm a very, very big fan of Elijah's play.
Yes, congratulations to Elijah Tatum, our first finalist here in our Regulation E kickoff mid-season showdown. I want to commend Patrick Connors for his top 4 performance here at our mid-season showdown. A great effort in order to get here. However, what that game really showed us kind of goes to a point that we talked about earlier on in the day, that even though you have the same Pokemon on the field, you're seeing the same Mons, they're completely different. And how you play them and how they're trained really, really matters in the grand scheme.
Yeah, like ultimately, so it was very cool because, the Chin Pows, even though they were the same, they were very different with how they inherently operated. One of them was holding the Focus Sash, the other was holding the Life Orb, and then, I believe that one of them was Jolly, one of them was Adamant. So it's just like, it's the same Pokemon, but just the ways you can kind of express the way you like to play the game. Like, based on this, I can tell Elijah likes to just, go hard. It's like Elijah just likes to just
put the pedal to the metal and
just call the opponent.
Yeah.
And just read them, and I got that just based on this team, Also, we saw it during the game itself. Like, Elijah was just, like, on it every turn. Like, all right, I'll read you. And, like, I feel like a Life Orb Chin Pow is a very good pick for, someone who favors that kind of play style of just kind of going hard, and that was really cool. So, congratulations, Elijah, on making the finals. I look forward to seeing you inside the finals. Looking forward to seeing you play there.
All right, and I think we are going to take our final break of the afternoon, and when we come back, we will have our finals match for you here. Stick around. We'll be right back.